Aloha once again and welcome back to the 7th Direction. My name is David. That 7th Direction is straight into us, and that's where we're spending most of our time. And we're finding out as we go that there's not that much difference between the rest of us and this us. Which of course is one of the more interesting things about life in general, and that you might want to note as a lesson, meaning maybe you take more of your personality and so on with you than you think. Maybe what you're supposed to be working on here isn't always anything like what you think you're supposed to be working on here, and that connecting with these larger themes of your soul that are themes in your life is what you're really trying to do. And if you miss the point, there are some really bad consequences for that. Let me give you an example. It has to do with me and my mom. Yes, I have mother issues. My mother passed away in 1998, and she had suffered from multiple sclerosis for 25 years. I had a psychic who came to me to speak with her, and during the course of this conversation, one of the things that the spirit of my mother communicated to me was, in her words, quote, "Multiple sclerosis is running away, and I don't do that anymore." This is such an incredibly powerful idea. It contains everything you'd ever need to know about the nature of the universe in which you live. As a human being, if I had walked into my mother's room in the nursing home and had said to her, well, too bad, sorry for you, you're doing it to yourself, oh well. From a human perspective, everybody in the room would have been very justified in hitting me in the head with a brick. Yet, oddly enough, as a soul, once outside of whatever it is that this physical experience does to us, my mother's soul was able to say quite freely, oh, I did that to myself. I made that choice, and that's what I connected to. Remember last time I mentioned that kahuna who said we're all connected to God. Which part are you connected to today? If you consider that God is the creator of everything, including the bad stuff, you want to tap into the good stuff if you can, because the bad stuff is karmic and it's there to teach you not to do that. You can destroy an entire life that way. At least that is currently the perspective of my own mother's soul. Her idea, she infected herself with fear, reached out and pulled in this energy that she hoped would create all kinds of responses within my father and whatever else. My mother's soul, for her own karmic reasons, chose this path very unwisely. It's a great story to keep in mind, to keep you from judging anyone. You do not know what the background is behind that particular soul experience that you are witnessing. Do you want to bring compassion to the experience? Yes. Do you want to be helpful? Yes. Do you want to offer new choices? If it's possible to offer new choices, yes. Perhaps that is your role in that lifetime at that time, is to step in and say, hey, can I help? But at the same time, you can't judge good and evil as other people are having their interactions, meaning You can't say it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault. Of course you can evaluate on your own from a moral perspective good behavior and evil behavior. That's not my point. My point is you cannot put roles onto others who are engaged in whatever their own personal dramas are and say, oh, this is happening because of so-and-so doing whatever they're doing. You do not know. As a soul, you simply do not know what the background story is between that soul and him or herself and the other souls around. This is one of the serious consequences of putting everything into your Pascal's wager. And you'll notice as we go along, we've stopped talking about that. We only talk about things from the perspective that we are an immortal white light energy being who is here doing things, and the question is what and how do we learn about that? That concept in and of itself contains so much work. It contains so much that we have to do to relearn ourselves and how we make things here and how the whole planet works and how we would want to change it for the better. It changes absolutely everything. We don't have any time to be going back and forth about what truth is. We make our bet. It's black or red. We make our bet on red. We go for it. That's it. We're just into the consequences of that. There are many consequences of that. One of the consequences of that is if you are coming again and again, as you can see, getting it right from this perspective could be quite challenging. Might require more than one trip. Yes, exactly. That is a concept known as reincarnation. Reincarnation. We are incarnating here. We're just doing it again and again. Why? Because we're not learning the lessons properly that we wanted to be learning the first time. Most of our lessons involve others. So they're on the opposite side of whatever this karmic, melodramatic orbit, mutual orbit of stars is as we circle around each other and we have what interaction we have. Well, maybe we have one style this lifetime and another style next lifetime and another style the lifetime after that. We change our roles around as we try to identify with other kinds of experiences. There's a theory in quantum physics which says that at every moment of choice, a new universe is created. And then we go forward, having made whatever we think our choice is, we go forward in one of those universes thinking it's the only universe that there is. But it's not. All of the other universes are running together in parallel. Just think how much more educational that would be for you as a soul if you could learn all these possibilities at once. Instead of having to do them one at a time, there's enough to do as it is. So, point being, maybe you have soul friends. Maybe because everyone else is also an immortal soul, maybe you have interactions with them throughout the lifetimes. That's why you can't judge. You don't know last lifetime who stepped on whose foot. So maybe they're just payback to balance things out this lifetime. Do the same with yourself. Don't judge yourself. Have the calmness to know that the good things that are happening to you in your life are because you carry good patterns with you, in the same way that the bad things that happen to you in your life might be because you carry bad patterns with you. You can always change them. That's what's so fabulous about being a soul, a little piece of God. You have a lot of power over what you create. You have infinite power over your point of view. If your point of view is what will allow you to walk on water, chant the fish into your nets, or heal other people as you walk around, in addition to having calmness and clarity in your life, then your point of view is a pretty powerful thing. All you have to do is change your point of view. You change your life, you change your life, the life of those around you. Quite a fabulous idea. It takes work. It takes compassion for others and yourself. It takes patience. It takes dedication and discipline. Know that you are doing your work when you are in the process of evaluating yourself and you are working to dig out your stuff and wanting to dig up your stuff and see it for what it is and make it better, applying love to it. Remember the yin-yang of creation, raw creative power and love. You put your creation out and love filters it back to you and says, ooh, could you do that a little bit better? Women are fantastically important. The feminine side, fantastically important. It's one of the reasons we've had so many issues with collapsing relationships and families dissolving. Not only were women insulting men and emasculating them as they were trying to be more like men, and we're going to talk a lot more about that later on in the series as we talk about real-world relationships between men and women, but the role of a woman in being this loving structure within the family, so the man goes out and does whatever he does with his job and his work and his this and his that, and when he brings it home, she shapes that into something beautiful and lovely. The rest of the family, that is loving action. So when you are engaged in doing both sides of that for yourself in your life, you are engaged in involved behavior. You are doing what you really want to be doing as a soul, which is improving. What is the purpose of life? Evolution. There's nothing else to do. You are an immortal being of consciousness with eternity to spend with yourself. There's no escape. So, that is why you want to be spending your time going in your seventh direction, because that is where most of you actually can be found. And so if you're trying to improve your experience here, making that smooth connection with the ocean of you that we talked about last time is really essential to your life process. So, keep going. It's worth it. It will get better. It will all improve. I hope you're having a good day. We'll talk again soon. Aloha.